All right, Eric Badu. Let me stop you. Right. Oh, and it is 6:30 now, so I guess I should go ahead and start, right? All right, let's pull this up. Pull that over there. All right. All right. So, hey, good morning, everybody. First live reel. This is my quote unquote official live stream on my YouTube channel. It just so happened that Gamertag Radio we already recorded, so we didn't need to do a live show this Sunday. So I figured, you know what? What the heck? Why not just go ahead and do something on the live stream on my channel instead? Pete and Mandy, as a matter of fact, are on the Gamertag Radio Twitch channel. They're streaming Bright Memory. So if you want to go check them out and not listen to me ramble on about video games, I highly suggest you go do that. But thank you for everyone that is hanging out with me this morning. Figured, you know what, let's try something new. I've always dabbled around on this YouTube channel. Obviously, if you check the channel, I have a bunch of videos up, but I've never taken it 100% serious. And I just kind of figured going here into 2020, the plan always was to really ramp up my content. Obviously, like Cyberpunk as a game is something that I for sure want to cover, along with some other things. I plan to invest in new equipment, camera equipment, just microphones, everything. So the plan was always to do more with this channel. And obviously, COVID happened, so that kind of stunted the growth just a little bit. And of course, Danny doesn't read shit, so he's messaging me right now, but whatever. All right. But the plan is I definitely want to do more on this channel. So this is kind of the start of it. Why not live stream when it's just me and I can just throw my thoughts out there. It can be about video games. It can be about pulp culture. It can be about anything. So here we are. Take a sip of coffee. But again, I want to definitely make this kind of interactive. So, please, when you're in the chat room, if you got questions and everything, we can jump into that and go from there. As a matter of fact, happy Mother's Day to everyone that's in here. I'm doing this super early for me. This is 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast. So I'll do the stream and then I will do my Mother's Day duties and obviously call my own mother and then my wife. It is also my son's birthday today. He is turning 14, so it's going to be a busy day here in the Lily household despite the quarantine. So look at the chat real quick. All right, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into. Oh, you love the glasses. The glasses are. I got these from a Division Two preview event, January of 2019. I guess that was that event, and I've just had them ever since. It's because I have the lights shining right in my eyes. It just makes it easier. You can probably even see the reflection of the monitor in them. But like I said, I wanted to jump on here and just kind of do a live stream and just kind of talk about the things that happened this week that interest me. And again, like I said, I want to make this interactive. So if you guys got questions and everything, feel free to speak up in the chat. And we obviously got the super chat as well if you want to help out that way too. So first thing I want to talk about, clearly, you guys know, I absolutely love Cyberpunk 2077. It is like literally the worst kept secret ever. So it's not a shock when I talk about that game and just obviously on social media, on the podcast, everything, the whole history of the last couple of years at the last few E3s and Gamescom. So we've not had gameplay, real gameplay, honestly, since June of last year, because the private demo they showed us at E3 2019 was what wind up being that deep dive demo that we saw in August of 2019, where they cut it down to about 15 minutes and showed you highlights. What we saw at E3 that year, and what I also got to see a second time at Gamescom last year, was about 50 minutes of gameplay, something like that. Like I said, got condensed down into that deep dive, and then they did the Q&A with Pavel, Miles, and Phil Weber and Holly Bennett hosted it. So it's been a long time since we've seen anything from that game. And obviously, it got delayed earlier this year. It should have already been out, got delayed until September 17th. So there's been mad speculation since then. When is the next time we're actually going to see any gameplay? From Cyberpunk, when we're going to get more information from it. They've obviously been teasing on the social media account over, I'd say, the last 4 to 5 weeks, kind of detailing some of the factions and gangs that you're going to get in the world of Cyberpunk. There's obviously been all the marketing material that's come out, like I think what that new Xbox controller. You had the SteelSeries headsets, and then obviously they did that contest with Nvidia for the limited edition 2080 Ti's, and then they're also doing the limited edition Xbox One X. Clearly, all that marketing material was put into place before they knew they were delaying it, but you know how contracts and all that stuff goes, so it came out early anyways. So we obviously had the Microsoft event that just happened last week. There's speculation maybe it would show up there. I'll talk about Microsoft here in just a second. But what they did right before it came out, that the reveal event happened, is they announced that, or was it right after? Maybe it was right after. I forget. Anyways, doesn't matter. But they announced earlier this week that June 11th, there is going to be an event called Night City Wire. We don't know what it is. We just know that it's happening. I think this is a part of IGN Summerfest, what they're doing. I do believe it may not be, it may be a standalone thing. I'm not 100% sure of that. But obviously the speculation now is we're going to start to see more information, and the marketing campaign is going to ramp up now in the month of June for Cyberpunk. So the hope is we get to see some actual gameplay again from Cyberpunk. Maybe the devs will sit down, talk more about it, interviews, things like that. My rampant speculation is the fact that they're calling it Night City Wire. I have a feeling this is something that is actually in the game that we'll experience while we're playing. And this will almost be like a tour of Night City. Maybe it won't focus on V. Maybe it'll focus on life in Night City. And we'll basically tour around all the different districts of Night City, kind of see what it looks like in the game. I would expect that we're going to see PC gameplay. I don't think we'll get PC specs or anything here, but it'll be running on a PC. Obviously, maybe ray tracing enabled, so it's shown at its highest fidelity. So we kind of get an overview of Night City, and then that just kicks off all the marketing. We'll get through the month of June, July, then get into August, and obviously the game will come out in September. So long-winded thing to say, I'm obviously very excited for this. This is, I don't want to say obsession. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but this is the game for me. This is my 2020 game. This is everything I've done the past, I'd say 18 months is culminating up to this game coming out. This channel I want to dedicate to creating content around. If I am fortunate enough to be able to review the game early, obviously when the embargo lifts and you guys are looking for reviews, I'll make sure I have something up in depth and ready to go on this channel. Even once the game has come out, I want to stream it. I want to do playthroughs, things like that. Obviously, if I get the opportunity to talk to the devs again, be able to talk to them, to get more insight about, just this whole process of making this game and this world of Night City. So very excited for June 11th. I'll either be streaming it here, or I think what I decided is, regardless, I don't know if Danny and Pete will join me, regardless if they join me or not. I'll stream it over on the Twitch channel on Gamertag Radio, because we'll probably want to have a discussion right after the stream. But my own personal direct thoughts, like I'm talking to you right now, I'm going to do here. More information about it, I'm going to do here, because that's just simply what I want to do regarding that game. The other cool thing that happened this week regarding Cyberpunk. So when they did announce Night City Wire, someone that works over at CD Projekt Red, he had tweeted about it and made a little funny GIF. So I just responded to the GIF, and I had my own little funny GIF too. Well, the official Cyberpunk 2077 account responded to both of us, and then they actually made me in the game. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can do this. I think I can do it. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. So do that. Show that. All right. So you should be seeing my page. Let me find it. Where the heck is it? Let me go to my Twitter page. And if you look now, they made that and sent it via Twitter. So I was like, screw it. I made it my Twitter banner as well. So just hilarious. You know, I know who runs the Twitter account for Cyberpunk. So you know, I thank those guys over there for doing that. That was a pretty funny thing. But overall, like I was saying, man, I'm super excited for the game. I'm super excited for, you know, just this whole marketing ramp up that we're gonna see for Cyberpunk, and just really looking forward to it. So let me look at the chat here really quick, see what folks are saying, and yeah, I'll get back to the Marvel and the Last of Us stuff a little bit. So oh, Kev, so you got the Cyberpunk controller. I mean, full admission, I mean, it looks cool and everything, but it's not my style. I honestly would have rathered Xbox Pope, who's on Twitter. You can follow him. He does all these custom designs. He has a design for a Cyberpunk controller, which is more of what I want. I want something that looks more like that custom NVIDIA card. That's the kind of controller I would like to see. So the Arasaka controller, just that color scheme is just not something I'm not dropping the money on to get something like that. But what other questions do we have here? Yeah, I mean that's the other thing, the lore of Cyberpunk and everything. I mean that's just for sure something I'll never be biased or anything crazy like that, but that is definitely something I'm gonna want to jump into and check out. You know, and again expand upon on the page and everything, you know, or in the channel, I should say, as we go along. I will definitely be playing the PC version of Cyberpunk. It will be interesting to see what the quote unquote Xbox One version of it, because I'm convinced you will not see the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 version of Cyberpunk 2077 until after the game is out. They are not going to show that in any of their marketing or just reviews, none of that. It'll be after it comes out. I do see a scenario where we could see the Series X enhanced version of it before it comes out. I fully expect, though, that they'll be showing off the PC version. And again, if we do see the Series X version, I know they have the marketing deal with Microsoft. PlayStation 5 version, just don't know. But the one thing that they did say, and I'll jump into Xbox here in just a second, is, you know, from day one, they've been saying that smart delivery is going to be enabled for Cyberpunk 2077, which means if you buy the Xbox One version of it and later on you get the Series X, it will auto upgrade to the Series X enhanced version, which obviously is a great feature. No word yet on how PlayStation is going to handle that, but I fully expect whatever that upgrade path is going to be, it's not going to cost you any money. Whatever they wind up calling it, there's no way they're going to charge you money to get the enhanced version on the PlayStation 5 either. So let me transition into Xbox here. So again, all the Cyberpunk talk happened, because Microsoft had a event on May 7th, and it was inside Xbox, and it was, I'm doing air quotes here, labeled as Series X gameplay reveal. And we live streamed it over on Gamertag Radio. And just, you know, I talked about it already on the podcast, but overall, it wasn't a mistake for the event itself. The mistake was the messaging and the communication of what the event was going to be leading up to that. And that was the huge thing, the huge gotcha that was about it, which was unfortunate because, you know, some of the games that they showed were great. They were absolutely great. You know, like they kicked it off with Bright Memory Infinite, which is something I had zero clue about, which it's already on Steam and all that, early access, all that stuff. You can get it for $10 right now, but that is on my radar now, and it looked great. That was probably the most quote unquote gameplay we got throughout the event, but it looked good. It is something that is on my radar now. I am interested in. The Medium is another one I am interested in. You know, it had some control type vibe feel to it. You know what I mean? So that looked good. Obviously, Vampire Masquerade. You know, I absolutely adore that series from back in the day. So to see Bloodlines coming in now, you know, of course, I am interested in that. I am interested in Yakuza. The games were there. The failing was you overhyped Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And this is a mistake of both Ubisoft and Xbox, in my opinion, because you did the Boss Logic reveal of it, which was great. I love that kind of in Boss Logic. He's super talented dude, but you did that, and then you had the creative director come out talking about it, and you hyped it up a week ago to make us think it was going to be a gameplay demo. I honestly thought, as an example, you were going to get something like when they first started showing The Witcher 3, right? Where they had like that 30-minute demo, where he's actually playing as Geralt. I thought we were getting something like that for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, not 30 minutes, but maybe, 5 to 7 minute demo. I thought that's what we were getting, because that's what they made me believe we were getting. And that is the fault of both Ubisoft and Xbox, right? Because Valhalla was the main event of this. We thought we're going to see Series X. We're going to see just this amazing gameplay and just visual fidelity. I had to make sure I had the 4K YouTube, stream up, because I wanted to see it in as great a fidelity as possible, right? But that's not what we got. We got what was essentially an in-game engine sizzle reel. And that was a disappointment. And again, this is why I blame both Ubisoft and Xbox on this, because go back and look at the Twitter messaging that was happening. Clearly, like Aaron Greenberg, people like that realized late in the game they had to do something about it, and they kind of were trying to temper expectations, but it was too late at that point. You spent a week overhyping everyone. And then even with the creative director, it wasn't until he responded to a question the day before the event that I realized we weren't getting gameplay. It was that late in the game that I still thought I was getting Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. So that's a mistake on their part. And obviously Aaron Greenberg realized that, he's the head of marketing over at Xbox. And I don't want to say he apologized, but he basically said, my bad. We screwed that up. We realized maybe they should have just not said anything at all. You know what I'm saying? If they didn't say anything at all and it was just a regular inside Xbox and we were getting some in-game engine, kind of trailers and sizzle reels, no one would have blinked. We'd have been fine, because we knew at that point we were getting the July event, which that's the big reveal for them. That's their quote unquote E3 moment, right? Is going to be that July reveal for the Series X, all the games. And I know in June, it sounds like they're going to have a product reveal as well. Obviously, speculation on that is, are they going to show Lockhart? Are we going to get the quote unquote Xbox Series S? Are they going to kind of give us a reveal date for when Project X Cloud is coming out of beta? Things like that. Or will there be any more improvements to Game Pass? I mean, that's what the June event sounds like it potentially could be. And then obviously July is when we're going to get Halo and all the other big games. And I would expect, the last thing that Phil Spencer says on the stream would be the price of what the Series X is going to be. I'm not 100% convinced we're getting Lockhart this year. I do think Lockhart is a thing, but I don't necessarily know if it's a year one at launch thing, but we'll see. I'm honestly 50-50 on it. I can see it going either way. And clearly Lockhart is all about price. So I think this, and Sony and Microsoft, they're playing this game of chicken right now to see who's going to say the price first. If, and this is a huge if the PlayStation 5 winds up being $499, which I do not think it will be, but if it is, I don't think we see Lockhart in year one, because there's no reason for Lockhart in year one, because Microsoft will price match at that point. They'll both be $499. So you don't necessarily need a low cost option unless they don't think their launch lineup is going to be up to par to incentivize people to want to go spend $500 to go get one, especially since games like Halo Infinite and all that are playable on Xbox One. So there's obviously a lot of moving parts when it comes to that, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see, man. This is what's so fascinating about when the new console gens kick off, and just, all the marketing back and forth, the one-upmanship that happens. I mean, PlayStation obviously is a huge, I don't want to say red flag. What's the word I'm looking for? They're a huge mystery, because we just simply don't know. And I know people are, PlayStation, they're not showing anything. Oh, they're worried. No, they're not. They're not. They are the absolute leaders in this space. They will continue to be the leaders in this space. They have the name brand recognition. They can just show a logo and get hundreds of millions of impressions. They can show a controller, get hundreds of millions of impressions. So when they do finally sit down and reveal the PlayStation 5 and show what the launch games are going to be, they're going to be fine. I'm going to tell you right now, You won't be able to walk into a Best Buy or Walmart and buy a PlayStation 5 this holiday. If you don't pre-order it or hop online and get it the second it becomes in stock, you ain't getting one. Can't say the same for the Series X. I do think the Series X will sell well this holiday, but it ain't going to sell as well as PlayStation 5. I'll put money on that because they're the leader and they've done absolutely nothing to change that narrative. We know they have the games. We 100% know they have the games because they've spent the past 7 years building up their exclusive library. So, of course, PlayStation's going to be fine. But circling back to Xbox for just a second and that reveal event, like I said, if you take that reveal event in the context of what it should have been, it was fine. It put the spotlight on AA to low tier AAA titles that would have gotten lost in the shuffle at a July reveal event with Halo and the rest. So in that sense, it worked. And it also kind of unlocked the floodgates for all these other third-party publishers to start showing off all their games coming in June and leading obviously up to July. Anyone that had a marketing deal with Microsoft and couldn't show their game yet, now they basically can. That's why I think you're going to see Cyberpunk. Obviously, EA is going to show all their games. Ubisoft will show all their game, Bethesda on down the line. And then it'll culminate with that July event where we get to see Halo and basically the future roadmap for Microsoft Game Studios. I mean, we obviously speculate, worst kept secret is, we're going to get a Fable, potentially Perfect Dark, maybe Banjo returns, things like that. And obviously some new IPs like the one from the Initiative. Maybe we see the future Gears, who knows? I mean, there's, obviously Forza Horizon, all that stuff. We're going to be able to see the potential of what that's going to be at this July event. So I am excited for it. I'm 1000% excited for it because like I've said a million times, I love the path that Microsoft has gone down since 2016, building up all these servers. Game Pass is a freaking revolution. I love Game Pass. It is going to be an industry leading thing as we move forward, as they continue to build up their first party lineup and they get key third party titles to jump in there for a limited time. Like right now, you can get Red Dead Redemption 2. It is a part of Game Pass. Something like, what is that? Streets of Rage 4 right now is a part of Game Pass on down the line. Even in that Inside Xbox, we saw certain titles, third-party titles, were going to be a part of Game Pass. So there's definitely value there. I mean, whether it's just $10 a month, if you're getting the console-only version, or if you get Game Pass Ultimate, which is console, PC, and obviously bundles in gold, I think it's a fantastic value. I really do. So ultimately, long story short, long-winded thing as I'm trying to say is I think overall what Microsoft is doing, what PlayStation is going to do, it's great for us because it is truly going to be a competition as we go into this next generation. Because like I said, the fact that both of them are blinking on the price right now. And again, history says neither one would have said the price at this point anyways. I mean, if you go back to 2013, we didn't even see the PlayStation 4 until June at E3. And then obviously they both said the price. So there is precedent there that as we sit here on May 10th, 2020, that we have not seen a PlayStation 4 hardware. We don't know the price of either one. Well, obviously, will PlayStation have an event in June as rumored? Will they say the price then? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Obviously, we know in July, Microsoft will. I do think Microsoft pretty much has no choice but to say their price, especially if Lockhart's a thing in July. PlayStation does not necessarily need to say their price in June. We already know, history has shown, both companies can wait as late as Gamescom, which is mid to late August, to say a price and still have pre-orders, and they're going to be fine by November. So don't be shocked if PlayStation doesn't give a price in June if they have a reveal event and they wait until later. Maybe they do want to wait to see if Microsoft blinks first, which I think they will, especially if they debut Lockhart. You can't show Lockhart without saying the price of Lockhart, in my opinion, because the whole point of Lockhart is that it's going to be lower price, right? So we'll see on all that. But yeah, that's the thing with Xbox and everything. And like I said, I think they misstepped with this event. If they just would have said nothing and go, hey, new Inside Xbox, and we're going to have some Series X trailers, they would have been fine. But instead, they overpromised it. Looking at the chat here. And again, thank you guys. I know I just start talking and I completely blank out on this chat. Let me scroll and look at the chat a little bit. Kid Tropical is asking me, do I have any fears of Cyberpunk's release. Yes, I have fears of every game when they come out. No game's going to be perfect. I guarantee you Cyberpunk will have some technical issues at launch. It's just a fact. It's a huge game. It's a huge world. I mean, The Witcher 3, if you go back to that, and I know it had some extreme crunch at the very end. We don't know what the crunch is going to look like with this game. The rumor mill says that the game could have come out in April, but it would have come in hot, just like The Witcher 3 did, which is why they delayed it, because they still needed to do some optimization potentially on the Xbox One, as an example, and squash some bugs. And this allows them to squash all the bugs. You know, from what they say, supposedly Cyberpunk is done now. Like, it is playable from start to finish. Obviously, all the ESRB ratings and everything have come out for it, and that the game is quote unquote going to be done by the time we get to that June 11th event. And then we're just going to have some minor bug squashing through the rest of the summer, and it launches in September. We've talked about this in the past, but I mean, my fears, yeah, there will be technical issues with it. I have a fear that the story isn't going to live up to my potential expectations, but that, I don't want to say is my fault, but maybe at this point I'm so hyped for the game. Maybe I overhype it. I don't know. I really don't know. I will say, if you go back to 2015, I feel like I was extremely worried about The Witcher 3, that I overhyped it and it wound up living up to my expectations, as an example. So, hey, this is one of the best developers in the world. They haven't let me down yet. So that's why I would rather go into this just excitement fully on versus going in being skeptical. You know, if I wind up ultimately being let down, then that's my fault, right? But I'd rather go into this being super excited than going into this just being worried about something that is completely out of my control. The game is what the game will be when it comes out. I will just say that, knowing some people on that development team and just knowing the products that they've put out over the past 5 years, I have extreme confidence that the game will be great. Obviously, that's why I'm super excited about it. I want to cover it, but it will not be perfect, because no game will be perfect. And that's just the mentality you have to go into everything. Like Halo Infinite, as an example. I am super excited. I'm nervous about Halo Infinite because it is extreme unknown. We don't know what that game is yet, right? We'll find out in July. But I also feel like Microsoft knows that Halo Infinite can't be a letdown. I think that's why you saw some movement on that development team with leadership over the past couple of years, because they know they can't screw this up. They risk ruining the Halo IP if Halo Infinite flops. So that will be fascinating to see. So I'm going into it excited, but I need to see more first. At least with Cyberpunk, I have seen a developer with a controller in his hand on multiple occasions go through these demos. So I know it is a real thing, and it isn't, quote unquote, you know, doing some Anthem fakery or anything like that. So, you know, hey, CD Projekt Red knows open worlds. I'm excited about this open world of Night City. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, like Philip Weber, one of the devs, he had tweeted out the other day that he just walked around Night City for like 40 minutes, you know, just taking in all the activities that the NPCs were doing, you know, and I think he said he did it at night or something like that. And I know there's weather effects in it, things like that. So I'm rambling too much about Cyberpunk. I'll shut up about it, but yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm also worried about every game as well. So let me look at something like this. And CC Felton, hi Paris, really excited that you're branching out to your own path. So thank you. Number one, I do want to be clear. I'm not leaving Gamertag Radio. This isn't like, even if you look at the watermark on YouTube, it says Gamertag Radio. I am still a part of Gamertag Radio. What I want to do, so just to be clear, Gamertag Radio is Danny's baby. That is Danny. I am not here without Danny. I will tell you that every time. But this channel allows me to kind of explore some of my own creative freedoms as well, which is what I want to do. It allows me to experiment. It allows me to do a live stream like this by myself with no script in front of me, and I'm just hitting go and doing it. It allows me to do unboxing vids, and it allows me to build a PC with my son and film it. It allows me to do a lot of different things that I want to try, you know, because I do all this because I love to do it. I don't do it because I have to do it, if that makes sense. So that's where I can kind of branch out. And when I don't want to talk gaming, I don't want to talk The Last Dance as an example, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. I can do it here. It doesn't have to be about gaming. You know what I mean? I just I just saw the chat, Night City Wire, all caps. Yes. Oh my God. I can't wait until June 11th. It's going to be awesome. But I appreciate that. Thank you. And what is Boso Skin saying? Your tweets about Witcher 3 inspired me to try that game finally, and I cannot explain how blown away I am by that game. It is phenomenal. It's one of the best gaming experience ever for sure. And that's kind of the thing that I'm saying, you know, as far as like with CD Projekt Red. I've been playing that freaking game for 5 years. I am, even right now, if you go on my Twitter timeline, I've been actively playing it during quarantine and just hopping into old saves and just exploring around. Like I've just been walking around Skellig and just using photo mode and just taking photos. That's all I've been doing. And I'm getting enjoyment out of that. I'm taking in this world that they created. And in the back of my head, I go, wow. Imagine all the level designers and the artists. They had to make all this. All this had to be made. It wasn't just automated and generated. This is something that was handcrafted and made by people. So stuff like that, I am in awe, and it excites me as well. And I look at it this way. I talk about games like The Witcher a lot. I talk about Cyberpunk a lot. You know, I talk about Destiny a lot because these are things that I love. These are things that I enjoy playing. And I'd rather be excited about something than constantly be negative all the time. I would rather, let's share our excitement. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Gadget, thank you. My first super chat, and I got the alert. It worked. Thank you. Thank you. If you got a question, please let me know, and I'll make sure to read that as well. But going back to my point, I'd rather talk about the things that I love and enjoy than sit here and harp on the negative all the time, is the point I'm trying to make. So if I adore a game and I love a game, and I would rather share that. So that's why I talk about these things on my social media so much, because I want to share that love with people. You know what I mean? And I just think it's a good thing. That's all. So I hope that answers it. I'm rambling a little bit. And what is Tanya saying? Okay, do you have any Witcher 3 mod recommendations for optimizing on PC? No, I do not. I have never installed a mod for The Witcher 3. I play it as is. I'm always afraid I'm going to break something, so I haven't done it. I've seen some cool ones to kind of enable some lighting effects. I think it's like almost like quasi ray tracing or something like that. And I know there's some mods where you can, that kind of quote unquote cheat mods where you can get more money, or vendors or have more money when you sell stuff. But I've never enabled them. So unfortunately, I'm not the guy to ask that opinion on, because like I said, I'm always afraid I'm going to break something. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I like the game too much to jack it up. So haven't done it. Let's see, any other questions here I want to read. I'm planning. Oh, okay. Mamba. Okay. Talking about Cyberpunk again, saying I'm planning a fast solo with pistols and katanas for my first playthrough. Yeah, Tanya, I know that is the fun of modding. With that game, I'm afraid to do it. I probably should. Why not? It's been 5 years. I should do it. I used to do it with Skyrim. I did various mods on that, but and I broke something. So I think maybe that's where my fear comes from. But going back to what Mambo said, I know I'm talking Cyberpunk a lot, but so what? I like Cyberpunk. My plan when I play, techie will be my first playthrough. I want to play as a techie. That's what I'm going to do. My first playthrough will be as a techie. My second playthrough will be as a net runner. And then my third playthrough will be as a solo, to kind of stay as close to those class builds as I can. And then a fourth playthrough, that's when I just go full hybrid, because then I feel like playing that the first quote unquote 3 main classes first, I get a good feel for what each one is like. I can get a feel for what I like out of each class. And then I do that fourth hybrid build. And that's when I can kind of take the best out of the 3 and kind of meld them into just one playthrough character. Obviously, I would have played through the story 3 times at that point. I would have made certain choices. Obviously, I'll try and make different choices each time. And then that fourth one, that's kind of be the one I'll quote unquote live in, you know what I mean? And that'll be the one I'll just, as I continue to play through the game and explore and do all that, that'll be the one that I kind of quote unquote main, you know, along the way. So that's kind of my thought on how I'm going to play when I do. And like I said, I'll make sure to have all that content up here on the channel as I go through that stuff. So let's see. I want to go back a little bit. because I know there was other questions. Sorry, as I do this again, first time live streaming. You're seeing me doing it real time. Yeah, okay, kind of what Gadget is saying. And again, thank you for the super chat. I truly appreciate that. So going to what he's saying he kind of wants to see the Series X go through the load times and all that, and I agree. And maybe that's the June part of the June event, the product thing. Maybe instead of showing us Halo and all that, maybe they kind of show how the Series X, you can take older games and look how quick it loads, right? Maybe take Gears 5 as an example. Look at the enhanced version of Gears 5, things like that. Or they could do or they could do all that in July as well. But I do think we'll get a quote unquote hardware demo of the Series X as we go through all this. Oh man, that's what other questions do we have here? But yeah, because I'm gonna get into the Last Dance. I kind of want to wrap up the gaming stuff. So I know way early someone was asking me about The Last of Us 2. So like I said on Gamertag Radio, it's partly my fault, but I've had The Last of Us 2 spoiled for me. So, and I would say to anyone here in the chat, please be respectful of people here and don't spoil anything if you know anything about The Last of Us 2. But it's been spoiled for me somewhat. I don't know the ending, but I do know a key plot point. I don't care. I'm still gonna get a day one. I mean, it's fine. I mean, even that trailer they put out this week looked great. I think people are overblowing this, and people, just going to be blunt, are getting way too much in their freaking feelings with some of this stuff. It's a game. It's a story that it's funny when I go back to the original Last of Us. Anyone that's known me for a long time, I never liked the controls of it. Never did. But I adored the story. The story, I love the story so much. I forced myself through the bad controls to play it. I know they've been tweaked or whatever. Like, I guess The Last of Us remastered is a lot better with the controls, but I want to continue with Joel and Ellie. I want to know more of that story. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fine. I'm fine with it. And yeah, whatever got spoiled, but I don't care. I want to see how this plays out. I want to see Neil Druckmann's vision of what he had for this. You know what I mean? I want to see it all culminate. So I'm excited to play it. Day one for me. Absolute day one. I'm looking at Jazz. I'm very excited to play as a straight-laced corpo that doesn't want blood on their hands, which you can do. And that's what's so awesome about Cyberpunk. You can do that. There is a path to where you don't have to kill anybody and complete the game. And I bet it'll be super hard to do, but it's there if you want to do it. So I'm excited for that. Tanya. Yeah, exactly. I know gamers getting their feelings. And I'm not going to preach and ramble about social media and just the ridiculousness of that. You know, I've had my fair share of encounters on there. But I have kind of reached the point where I'm going to stop worrying about what people think of me or say to me on social media. I've learned that I'm going to tweet what I tweet, whether you like it or not. It's my opinion. You will not change my opinion, just like I will not change your opinion unless you want it to be changed. Same as me, right? I have people that absolutely hate my guts on Twitter, and they go out of their way to say the most meanest, hurtful things. I've been threatened, everything. I don't care. I'm too old to care. I really don't care. I use Twitter for my enjoyment. I like saying I like to share things in certain things in my life, pictures, games, whatever, give my opinion, but it's mine. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you use social media that way, you'll be fine. Just ignore the nonsense, because that's all it is nonsense. So if you go through life just ignoring the nonsense and just worry about you and stop worrying about other people, you'll be fine. I said I wasn't going to preach, and I'm preaching. I'm going to stop. I'll stop. That's how we're going to do it. But back to The Last of Us 2 really quick. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Picking it up day one. Try and avoid the spoilers if you can. Just avoid the spoilers. Just, even if you do get spoiled, don't let it deter you from actually playing the game and experiencing it for yourself. I just look at it that way. And Analog Circle. I believe the Analog Circle is Keon. Please confirm that. I believe you're Keon. And Keon, longtime voicemail sender on Gamertag Radio. Thank you for hanging out with me here. you're saying what score would you give Inside Xbox? I said a B minus is what I said at the time. I will stick with that even still, because like I said, what the event was 100% fine. It was. The games are fine. There were games in there that I am just super interested in, that I do want to check out at some point. I'd take it down to a B minus because Ubisoft and Xbox screwed up the messaging for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And overall, I feel like Xbox screwed up the messaging because they made the appearance that we were getting gameplay. And instead, we were getting in-game sizzle reel teaser trailers. They should have been more clear on that. So that's their bad. Aaron's already acknowledged it. They'll learn from it and they'll be fine. But B minus is what I'd say. Okay, last gaming question. As a Halo fan, what 4 bullet points does Microsoft need to know? Oh, man. Kid Tropical, thank you for that. That is a fascinating question. Wow. You said 4, so now I feel pressure to have 4. What do they have to nail? Okay. First and foremost, this is what Halo Infinite needs to nail. You need to establish that I am Spartan 117, that I am Master Chief. None of that lock nonsense. Look, I'll take the Arbiter. You know, I can get some Arbiter action in there. I'm good with that. Hey, Keith David's always great. But this is about Master Chief and Cortana. That's what the story of Halo has always been about. It has been about their relationship. I'm a grown-ass man, and I will fully admit, look, choked up a little bit into Halo 3, even with Halo 4, because I care about the relationship with Cortana and Master Chief. So first and foremost, I better be playing as Chief, which we will be. Second, the story, they have to reinvest me back into the story of Halo and all the lore that goes with it. I'm not a fan of the Forerunner thing they did with 4 personally. I could do without that. I'd rather them get more back into the Covenant. Flood should come back, make a compelling story that is about Chief and his relationship with Cortana. That's what I want, right? The other thing that I want to see with Halo Infinite, again, rumors, quasi open world thing, fine. You gotta nail the gameplay loop. As far as the weapons need to feel good. I'm sure they're going to be introducing some new weapons as well. Obviously, the battle rifle, all that stuff will come back. But you got to nail the gameplay loop. It needs to feel fun. When I get into these encounters and I'm engaging the enemies, it needs to feel fun. Like, I'll just Destiny as an example, Bungie, because obviously they created Halo. The one thing that Destiny has had since day one and continues to have is it feels freaking great to shoot a gun in that game. The actual engagement has always been fun in Destiny. And that's what I need in Halo. That's what 343 needs to absolutely nail. So is that 4? Is that 3? I don't know. But gameplay loop obviously needs to be fun. I would say beyond that, obviously the multiplayer, you know, there's rumors of it potentially being free to play and all that. They might have some kind of quasi Call of Duty Warzone feature in there. We'll see. We don't know anything about the game, but the multiplayer needs to be fun. The multiplayer needs, especially if it's free to play, don't make it feel like it's just a microtransaction fest. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And then finally, I would just say, again, kind of going back to the more campaign stuff of it, what is the replay, especially if it's open world, once I'm done with the campaign, what am I doing? Is co-op going to be a part of it? Is co-op going to feel fun? Is it going to be engaging? All that. So they have some big things to nail, which again is why I think it's been 5 years since we've seen a Halo game. And I think it's justified. They got a lot of work to do to get this right. And I am fascinated to see what happens in July when they finally show off the game and just all the modes and everything is going to be a part of it. What else do we have here? And Gadgets, and I want a more adult Halo. I do too. And I hope that's what they do. Okay. Anything else here? All right. So going to transition away from video games a little bit. And I want to talk about The Last Dance. So if you're not into the NBA, into basketball, it might be time to check out. I don't know. But if not, please, thank you for hanging out with me. So NBA, Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. It's been 6 episodes so far. So episode 7 and 8 is going to be tonight, and just chronicling Michael Jordan's career and just being old enough during that time to remember all of it. I remember all of it, right? Oh, man, thank you for this. Thank you for the chat, man. I appreciate this. Thank you. I'll get to your question in just a second, brother. But with Michael Jordan, he is the greatest athlete of my lifetime. I'm not old enough to remember Muhammad Ali in his prime. Tiger gets close, but Tiger's not Jordan. Jordan was the ultimate winner. Jordan was the ultimate competitor. Jordan, just the game-winning shots, the ups and downs. He's not perfect, and you're seeing this in the documentary if you've been watching it, and I love it because he is a human being. He is real. Just the loneliness that has happened for him because of being such a star, and the isolation is amazing to see the burnout that he had by the end of that third title. And obviously his father dying and just everything that went in that. And it sounds like episode 7 and 8 is going to go into that when he had to take time off and he was playing baseball and then he came back 18 months later. But it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible watching this. I'll tell you now, if that was at episode 2, I think it was, when he scored 63 in the Boston Garden and it had LL on Bad track behind it. I mean, the soundtrack of the whole entire Last Dance has been phenomenal as well. But, watching this with my son has been it's such a freaking treat for me. Like I'm telling you now, I'm telling you, I'm getting soft in my old age. There's been a couple times where I just damn near wanted to cry while I'm watching it with my son, because he's getting to see Michael Jordan for the first time. And it's not just YouTube highlights and all that where everyone's LeBron, KD, Curry. It's like, no, this dude was holding it down back in 84. Okay, he was doing the stuff that you're praising these cats are doing now. He is the OG when it comes to this, right? And to just see my son in awe, and he's just asking me, like, I have to pause it like every 2-3 minutes because he's just asking me questions, so many questions. Yep, I remember that. And I would tell him, oh, I remember this, I remember that, I remember how I was feeling. Like the 89 shot against the Cavs in the first round, the shot over Elo, which is iconic now. I was at my best friend's house, and we used to have Tecmo Bowl tournaments, right? And I remember like every weekend. So that game was like on a Sunday. And we were at my best friend's house, and it was like 4 of us, and we're watching that game in his room. And then the Elo shot, I will always remember it because I jumped up and cheered, and I tripped and I fell and I hit my head. I'll always remember that. And I didn't care. And I just jumped back up and I'm celebrating and whatever. And it's like, the dude's a freaking legend. Just the wars with the Pistons that he went through. And then just the first title when I hated the Lakers in 91. I was so glad when they beat the Lakers. But just everything that happened, like the 93 when they beat the Suns, I was in the Navy at that point. So I was overseas. So I didn't even get to see it. You know what I mean? So just the wars with the Knicks, all this stuff. And then obviously just culminated with that final shot in 98 against Byron Russell. And like I said, just my son just being able to watch all this stuff with me, I love it. And even since, because of that, we've been pulling up old YouTube videos, and I've just been going through showing him different stuff with Jordan. This is what I take out of it, and this is why I love it and I adore it so much. I'm telling you right now, I did cry at the beginning of episode 5, I guess that was, with Kobe. I mean, guys that know me, I'm a huge Laker fan. Kobe came to the Lakers in 96, same time I, was here, in this area, and I met my wife and all that. So I've watched this entire career. And I've told the whole story. My son and Gigi were both playing in the same travel league. So we would see Kobe from time to time. And I literally saw him 3 weeks before he died. And my son was playing on the court right next to Gigi. And it's just surreal when all that happened. The tournament that he was going to, we were supposed to be at that tournament, but it was up in Thousand Oaks because, it's the Mamba tournament. And as parents, we decided we didn't want to make the trip all the way up to Thousand Oaks. So we wound up going to a different tournament in Orange County. And I remember that morning driving to the tournament with my son, and it was super foggy. And I was like, man, it's so foggy right now. And then we find out, obviously what happened. Just crazy. But not to get back into that. But just to see Kobe and Jordan together. And I mean, Kobe is the remix. He is as close as we will ever get to Michael Jordan. And to just see how, damn, I'm about to get choked up again, to see that Jordan was his big brother and they loved each other. And that was the guy that made him. I don't know. It gets me. It gets me because I'm similar age. We had children and that's the same age. And my heart just goes out to Vanessa losing Kobe and to lose her daughter the way it did. I don't know. If you live out here and you're a Laker fan, it hits you different. That's the only way I can explain it. It's hard. It is hard. And I know I'm kind of tangent off into Kobe stuff, but it's hard. It's still hard. And I didn't even know him personally, but it's hard because I can, as a parent, I can relate. And that's what gets me the most. But overall, just before I wind up boo crying on here or something, definitely The Last Dance. If you're a sports fan, even if you're not a sports fan, honestly, it is so worth a watch. I definitely recommend everyone checking it out. It's really good because, like I said, Michael Jordan is the greatest athlete and just icon of my era, my life. There'll be no one that comes close to that. And look, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. I'm obviously a bigger LeBron fan now than I used to be because he is on the Lakers. And, you know, I've always appreciated the talent. He is the third greatest player ever. But he'll never be Michael Jordan. He'll never be. And it's not fair to him that people try to compare him to Michael Jordan because he's never going to get to that. Never. Eagles fans saying Harold Miner. Yeah, I had a Harold Miner jersey. I should find those pictures. I was super NBA head in the 90s. I used to get all the jerseys. Penny was my guy back in the day. I was an Orlando Magic fan. I became a Lakers fan because I was an Orlando Magic fan and I was a Shaq fan. And when they let Shaq go for the reason they did over money, I go, this is the dumbest thing this franchise ever did. I was like, screw you. And I just followed Shaq to LA and I wound up being out here anyways. And it all worked out. So now I bleed purple and gold. But let me go back to Maine's question here. Again, thank you for that super chat, man. I truly appreciate that. And just let anyone know that's watching this now. All the super chat stuff that comes in, all that will go to upgrading equipment. Like I want to get a better camera. I want to get a better mic, stuff like that. That's where all that stuff will go into to make this channel, just the branding of this channel, everything. Shout out to Adam. As a matter of fact, if you look at the branding on the channel right now, that was Adam over at Mega Dads. He reached out to me and did that for me and it's freaking awesome. So thank you. And I'm so appreciative of that. But as we continue to upgrade this channel and equipment, that's where all the super chat stuff will go to. So thank you for that. But Maine, sorry. Super long-winded. I'm sorry. He goes, I follow you on Twitter and I appreciate your opinions, not only in gaming, but also in sports and society in general. You're not afraid to take a stand. And, you know, thank you for that. Number one, thank you for that. All of that really goes back to my mother. Seriously, all of it. Because even as a kid, number one, my Red Ryder BB gun moment for Christmas was 1985. She got me the Nintendo. She got me the deluxe set with Rob the Robot, Duck Hunt, and Gyromite. That kind of quote unquote kicked off my gaming career all the way back then. And I had no clue she was going to do that. I had no clue she even knew I was interested in that stuff. So I will eternally be grateful for my mom doing that for me. Sports. My mom, and God bless her, she just turned 73. She is not as big a sports fan as me, but she, like, it's so funny when, like, the Last Dance stuff, she texts me and calls me all the time. You watching Michael Jordan? You watching it? You look just like him. She's right there with me the whole way. Huge Buccaneer fan, just as much as I am. So my mom is always, even as a kid, she obviously supported my sports, you know, habits, you know, being able to go to Buccaneer games, things like that, Orlando Magic games, all that stuff back in the day. So obviously I love my mom. And as far as not being afraid to take a stand, I get that from her too, because her thing that she taught me and I teach my kids, stop worrying about what other people do. Stop worrying about what other people think of you. Be who you are. And that's who I am. So no, I am not afraid to give my opinion. And I'm not always right. I'm wrong a lot. But I'm not afraid to make that mistake. I'm not afraid to apologize when I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid to look at some racist ass shit going, oh, maybe I shouldn't curse. I don't know. They might demonetize me on here. I don't know. But I'm not afraid to call out racism. I'm not afraid to call out sexism. I'm not afraid to call out homophobia. None of that. I am me. I am comfortable being me, you know, and That's the advice I give my kids. That's the advice I give anyone. Be comfortable being who you are. Don't worry about what society tells you you need to be. Be you. Don't be afraid to show your interest in certain things that may not be quote unquote normal, that may go against the grain. Who gives a crap? Honestly, if you love something, you love it, right? Don't be afraid to give an opinion of something that something you don't like. It's okay. You know, and it brings us back into gaming really quick. The one thing, so this is why I need new equipment. Look at this. Look at this. Terrible. The one thing from that Phil Spencer interview Danny and I did, the one thing I took out of that and I hold as a sense of pride is him unprompted, him going out of his way. If you go listen to it, he goes out of his way to make this point that the feedback that he gets from everyone internally on that team is, you know, we're fair. I'm fair. I have been extremely tough on Xbox over the years, but it's been warranted. And when Xbox deserves praise, I give Xbox praise, but when they don't, I won't. But at the same time, if I'm going to criticize something, I say, I don't like this because, or you didn't do this right. Maybe you could try this. Always provide a solution. Always provide an explanation when you want to be critical of something, when you're being negative about something. Even when you want to be a cheerleader with your pom-poms, explain why you're excited about something. That's just how I look at life, man. But again, Maine, thank you for that. I appreciate you saying that. It truly means a lot. And let me see. Oh, to my Harold Miner. Yeah, he did think he was going to be the next Jordan. There's a great YouTube clip of the first meeting between Jordan and Harold Miner, like going head to head, and Jordan just ethered him. But yeah, man, sports, 90s NBA, just absolutely loved it. Still love sports, obviously, to this day. And then what is Kid Tropical saying? Agree. I recall when like an anime and that was taboo. Now look at things. Exactly. See, just getting into me saying, look, I'm 6'3", 230-ish pounds right now. You were on quarantine. I've been eating some snacks, but I'm a big dude. I am. And I know I am. I have an intimidating presence. I get it. I've always had it, even when I was a kid, right? There was a certain expectation just looking at me of what I should like and what I should be into. And look, let's not get it twisted. I love sports. I love hip hop and all that. But guess what? I also love anime. I love comic books. I love a lot of nerdy stuff too. And that was very taboo in the mid to late 80s, right? So in high school, I had to take a JB Smoove from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I had to be another MFer, right? I had to be another mother, you know what? I couldn't be comfortable in my own skin to have the acceptance of my quote unquote peers at the time. And thank God I woke up out of that during the 90s while I was in the Navy and everything. And especially me living in Japan was a freaking godsend because it was almost like I was home. It's where I wanted to be. That culture, that lifestyle, just everything about it, I absolutely adored and I loved. And to this day, I still don't know why I left Japan when I did. But hey, it worked out. I met my wife and I have my family and all that. So there's no regrets. But, you know, I was comfortable in that world, in that life. And I make no excuses for still loving all that stuff now. Tangent on that slightly. That was another thing, just bringing social media into it, which was disappointing. But when the ESRB thing came out for Cyberpunk and it came that you can modify your genitals, right? You know, I quote tweeted, so I had said something about it, I guess. And I just said that, you know, I applaud CD Projekt Red for doing this. Let me make the decision. Let people express what they want to be. You don't get to tell me what I want to be and how I want to represent myself in a game. Give me the tools to let me do it the way I want to do it. And I applauded them for that. And of course, all these homophobic people came out and I guess now I'm gay or whatever, right? Because, you know, I think it's okay that people can modify and can express themselves the way they want to. You know, if I want to be a girl with a penis, be a girl with a penis. Who gives a shit, right? Demonetize me. I don't care. But to see those kind of reactions is just disappointing. But you know what? I'm not afraid to say it, and I'll continue to say it because that's what I think. I don't need you to justify what I think. And again, not to get all preachy on here again. I just think that's how the world should be. Be proud of who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. So I'm super long-winded on that. I've been going an hour, so let me start to wrap this up. Let me look at a couple more questions here. An Eagles fan is asking me, the best thing about the NBA in the 80s and 90s was the golden era. The talent at the time was so strong. Those kids out of college could play when they came to. Exactly. So that's the one thing that's been lost now is these kids are coming directly out of high school. They're doing the one and dones and all that, and they're not prepared and ready to play. But when back then you played at least a minimum of 3 years, sometimes 4 years in college, and they were coming in more prepared. The fundamentals were there. That's why Tim Duncan, as an example, got the nickname the Big Fundamental, because he did 4 years at Wake Forest. So when he came into the NBA, day one, that dude was ready to go, because he had the fundamentals to play. I mean, even if you look at like Kobe as an example, coming out in 96 directly out of high school, it took him 3 years to start becoming Kobe because he didn't have the college experience. He would have went to Duke as an example. He didn't get to play under Krzyzewski and actually learn the game and learn the fundamentals. He had to learn on the fly. So that's why it's very hit or miss with these one and done players now. You know what I mean? Just take a look, like a Shane Battier as an example, not a superstar. He did his 4 years at Duke. He came into the NBA. He was prepared, and he had a great career, great, solid, fundamental career. So I agree with you. That's the one thing that's missing now with the NBA, and we're really going to start going back to these high school kids coming out. And look, I ain't mad at them. Get your paper. If you're that talented coming out of high school and somebody's throwing millions of dollars at you, you do what you got to do. But I do agree the game isn't fundamentally sound. Like, that's the one thing about Michael Jordan. The one thing that I had to explain to my son, that he always just thought, oh, the dunks and the highlight stuff. No. Michael Jordan is the greatest mid-range shooter ever. And when I say ever, I'm looking at Curry and KD and Clay and all of them. His percentage, just look at the numbers he was doing in the 90s percentage-wise. I mean, the dude was shooting 50% from mid-range. Insanity. So, yeah, that stuff is lost now, for sure. People, they definitely could shoot from mid-range and all that way better than, the free throw percentages were way better back then. I mean, you had guys like Bird and all that shooting in the high 90 percentile. You know what I mean? Whereas now I look at LeBron, I cringe every time he goes to the freaking line. He can barely shoot 75%. Of course, you got outliers like Curry and all that now, but the game's different. Look, the game's fun. I truly feel like the NBA is going into another golden age. Don't get me wrong. I love the game for what it is right now. But being an old head, I can appreciate the old way they play basketball as well. So, all right, last question or two, and then I'm going to get out of here. So what CC Felton is saying to me, did you decide to go on Weapon Wheel podcast to defend your early exchange with one? Okay, I'm going to address this because this is my channel, and I'm going to say this. So one of the little homophobic, childish, immature things that happened was some guy got real snooty with me, and it was pointed out to me. So I simply said to him, hey, my DMs are open, because I would be more than willing. If you have a problem with me, if you have a beef with me, and you could clip this, by the way, and send it to him, and you'll understand why. But if you have a problem or a beef with me, I'm more than willing to have that discussion, because again, I'm not always right. And when someone's upset with me, I'd like to understand why, and maybe we can have that, that discussion and come to some kind of resolution, right? So this one particular person, making a spectacle on Twitter. And, I got slightly petty. I admit it. But ultimately, I was challenged to come on this podcast. And I go, send the invite. I'll come on. And I accepted it. Had a DM with one of the guys, and he wanted to do it today. I said, it's Mother's Day. Let's push it to the next Sunday. Well, long story short, the original person in all this, just name calling, but never could really get to a point, just saying how I'm fake and, I'm no one special. I'm not anyone special. I agree with you on that. But ultimately I said, you know what? Wait, why are we waiting until Sunday on a podcast? If you really have this big of a problem with me, hey, shoot me your Discord name. We can talk right now. Let's do it. Excuse, name call. And I just kept saying, hey, I don't need to go on a podcast where clearly you're just setting it up for your own attention, when we could have a private conversation, squash whatever quote unquote beef we have, and then I'd be more than happy to come on your podcast and we can have a gaming discussion and we can go from there. So long story short, no, I'm not going to go on that podcast until this guy DMs me his Discord name, phone number, whatever, and we have a private conversation, because it's easy to make a spectacle in public because you want an audience, because you want to show off to your friends or whatever that you're a cool guy, and you cursed out, Paris or whatever. Who gives a shit about that? I really don't care. But if you have a real problem with me, let's talk. Let's talk offline. Let's talk privately. It's not for public consumption. Let's be adults, have a private conversation. But that's not what this person wants. This person basically wants to use me to garner themselves more attention, because I'm just going to be blunt about it. Clearly, they are jealous of me for whatever reason. I don't know. I am nobody. I'm just a black dude that gets on here and talks. So whatever his problem is with me, I don't know it, because he seems to be too afraid to actually talk to me and tell me, other than to say crazy stuff on Twitter. So there you go. Long-winded answer to, I'm not going to say who it is. They know who they are. So clearly the one person obviously saw the exchange, so they know that. Again, you want to talk to me? Talk to me privately. I'm not going to do the public stuff. That's childish and petty. All right. Any last thing here, and then I will get out of here. And Eagles fan, last one. He is saying, Cyberpunk 2077, do you think they have to tone it down to avoid the AO rating to rate it? No, I don't think so. I think the ESRB rating they got, they're fine. I think even Australia isn't banning the game or making them change anything. So no, I think they're fine. I think they're fine with where they are. I don't think that's an issue. But yeah, again, June 11th, I'm excited for Night City Wire. I'll definitely be covering it, having my opinions on all that stuff. And obviously we'll just lead up to the game and get to that in September. So I think this is it. I've gone over an hour. Jesus Christ, I could talk a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this is something to build upon, something that you guys want to see. Absolutely. Leave me feedback. Let me know what you think, be it in the comment section here on YouTube at Vicious696. You can hit me up on Twitter. Let me know directly. Again, my DMs are open. If you ever want to say something to me privately, I'm more than willing to have that discussion. So thank you guys. I appreciate this. I had no idea how this was going to go. I just knew I wanted to do it. Right. And here we are. So thank you for joining me for this debut live stream on my YouTube channel. This was a lot of fun, just talking about gaming. I don't know yet when I'll do it again. Clearly, this is normally when I do Gamertag Radio, so I don't know if this will be the time slot for it. But I'll talk about that more on Twitter and everything. Let everybody know, where they can find me, what time, and maybe we can just make this like a weekly thing. I think it could be fun to do. This is good therapy for you. Maybe it is. Maybe it is therapy. I'm just being honest and just doing my thing. But everyone that left me the super chat, thank you for that. I truly appreciate that too. And let's build on this. This is fun. This is definitely fun. So let's build on it. Let's keep doing it. Bring the feedback in. Let me know what you guys think. And again, I really appreciate this. So until the next one, this has been Paris. And thank you for joining me. And I'll see you again soon.